if domain is where does it start on the left and where does it end on the right, for this circle here, what is the furthest left part of that circle? At what x value? 0. Okay. What is my furthest right part of that circle? 4. So if we're going to talk about the domain of that circle, I'm going to say, just for right now, domain is left to right. And we're going from 0 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 4. It started at 0 on the left and went to 4 on the right. And this is notation using inequalities. There are a couple of other ways we can write the domain and the range. So from what we went over yesterday, what kind of points did I draw here? Closed. How do you know they're closed? They're filled in. I colored them in. Okay. And the reason I colored them in is because the circle is actually touching x equals 0. It's actually touching it. It's there. And over here, it's actually touching 4. So where it's touching counts. It's part of it. So since they're closed, that's why I have those or equal to things under the inequalities. So then for our range, what's the lowest part of your graph? -6. That's the lowest. What is the highest part? -2. All right. So -6 to -2. So my range was low to high. And we went from -6 to 2. And that's showing your domain and range using the inequality symbols. Another notation that we can use is we can use interval notation. Alright, we can use interval notation. So for this circle, what is the furthest left part of the circle? -6. And the furthest right part? -2. So, written with inequalities, I have -6 less than or equal to x less than or equal to -2. If I'm going to write it in interval notation uses brackets or parentheses. Okay? Since these dots are closed, or they are colored in, I'm going to use a bracket. So I go bracket -6 to -2, and then another bracket. So if you have less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to, you have brackets. Those two things kind of go together. Close point, same thing. Those three things kind of all coincide with each other. Alright? So then for my range, what's the lowest part of my graph? -3. And what's the highest part of the graph? 1. So if we're going to write it in inequality notation, I would have -3 less than or equal to x less than or, thank you, y less than or equal to 1. The points are closed, so we have brackets. -3 to 1.